Hey, we're in Central Park.
Now, what would make me, a young female preteen age, fall head over heels in love with a character like this? I'm talking 6-month-long fantasy of pretending to date this character, us courting each other, and breaking up only to experience a mournful and bittersweet get back together before we separate one final time.
I don't know. Insanity?
Bareback: A Dinosaur Story is one of the very many Steven Spielberg productions that transported me into a world where I got to see the interaction dinosaur characters outside of Land Before Time. My best friend's mother introduced us to this movie from her collection, and while my best friend was thirsting over her biggest crush at that time, the main character, me on the other hand, the one who always chose the character that none of the other girls chose, thirsting over the other main character, the freaking butt-faced T-Rex. The creature with a face that looked like a literal butt crack or toilet seat depending on the angle. I know. And before you get the gears in your brain turning to ask me whether or not I'm a furry, don't worry, I got you. I'm not. As a matter of fact, looking back at this movie, I had a very hard time understanding why I even had a crush on this guy in the first place. But as I recount the story, I'll attempt to put it together. Hey!
Oh,
So Rex starts to recount the story of who he was, saying that he wasn't always smart. Basically, we're getting the story through the bird's eye view, which is, I know, ironic. So on that tree, Buster's mom is looking from below. Rex walks away and begins to tell him the story, but not before he hits all these golf balls into a tree, I'm sure killing a bunch of birds that probably has some of Buster's family members in them, which is like, dude, he lives in a tree. He just fell from one of his mothers in there. Can you imagine being in a tree and a golf ball, an iron ball, just goes through your freaking skull? Even when I was younger and I saw this, I was so annoyed by some of the freaking noises that these things made. And the thing is, while the thing is moving, the noise that it makes doesn't even match up with its mouth. I do love Rex's design because I hated the Barney look that he had. So honestly, when I was first watching this back over, I did not understand why I even had a crush on him. This alien named Vorb is like, hey, you've been chosen for some kind of promotion thing. Eat some cereal. Then lures Rex to the ship and then force feeds him like those freaking chickens until his stomach almost blows up into a million pieces. Honestly, it looks like the poor T-Rex is dying because his stomach is probably like 5 times its size now. Looking back at this movie, you see it with a fresh pair of eyes. And you realize, man, these people who are supposed to be the good guys are really not that nice, are they? Somehow becoming smarter turns you into a freaking couch.
your boat gently down the stream.
I don't know why looking at this part in my childhood, I was like, ooh, that's hot. I don't know what was going on. Let's just play my little whole psychological skill there to pick apart things. Something was becoming intelligent. Something was being created, transformed from something else. And as someone who is a creative, I love when new things are introduced. I love the aspect of creating things and making stories and characters. And I feel as though this creature with a backstory that we didn't understand is now coming to life, essentially. Also, his voice was deep, and the fact that he could talk, having been a Tyrannosaurus Rex, was very alluring to me.
What a personality! Thank goodness the Growmonger! It's taken 280 portions of brain grain to jumpstart that skull of yours, pal!
So when something is force-fed brain grain to make it intelligent, which is what this alien was doing on behalf of another human, you just start singing, row, row, row your boat. In English? Weird. So of course, Rex is like, yes, I want more of that brain grain stuff. He then meets Elsa, Dweeb, and Woog, the Triceratops. Other dinosaurs that were taken against their will and force-fed. And now, for some reason, very hauntingly, 2 herbivorous dinosaurs that only ate plants before apparently can eat meat now. How many contradictions also?
Get social!
Hi, everybody. My name is Rex.
Hey, how did I do that?
So previously, the alien had told him, hey, we're gonna stop by for lunch so you can meet some other people. And Rex is like, what's lunch? But yet you know the full lyrics to Row, Row, Row Your Boat. You know how to read. And you know what certain things are, but you don't know what lunch is. Freaking Elsa over here, she can't, I mean, the first thing she does is rubs herself up on him. Ma'am, he's too big for you. Dweeb says they've evolved, and Dweeb is like, hey, you used to call me lunch, but is completely unaware that he is eating meat from something else. So here's a story of Captain Neweyes here. He introduces himself and he says that he lives in the far future where all the species on all the planets have had to learn to get along. But yet, got these dudes still eating meat. Unless these sausages are from the future and they're not made of meat and they were made from some lab or something, I'm guessing they're meat. Would make sense because their brains are so much larger they probably need all that extra protein. It's probably why they're hankering for it. Captain Neweyes says he's in his golden years, he's old, he's trying to give something back, and he wants to make wishes come come true. He made a fortune out of his brain grain cereal. So he made this wish machine. It's like a wish radio. Ew, look at him.
See, I made this radio so I can hear people's wishes, especially children, because I want to hear what children want, see? No ulterior motive for that, I just love them kids. But they wish the loudest, them dreams taste the best.
We tuned into a station in the middle future. They don't tell you what the year is because they don't want to date this movie. And it shows all these kids about wishing for stuff they want. And the loudest wish is wishing for a freaking dinosaur. Kid really is an artist. He draws like an animator. I mean, look, he drew the actual perfect perspective of Rex. But to make it look kidified, they drew him with a fatter tail, a stick arm, and Winnie the Pooh legs to throw us off the fact that the kid is a natural. The kid that young probably wouldn't draw that perfectly. All these kids are wishing for things from all over the world. I don't know what the kid on the right is wishing for, because he's lifting up his shirt. I don't know what's going on. And then what if one kid is wishing for the opportunity to beat up another kid, or to get a puppy that another kid wants too? The second Wonder Woman movie kind of pointed that out with how that can get a little crazy, but then they kind of ignore it too, but they do the same thing in this movie.
In this one particular time that miss you, and they're wishing for you. I've never heard a louder wish.
Pretty sure there are kids being abused all over the world right now. Kids in situations where they are just praying for death or the ability to get out of that situation. But his loudest wish that he's hearing from children is that they want to see dinosaurs. So Dr. Neweyes' answer to all of this is to kidnap dinosaurs from their homes, force feed them this brain grain stuff, and then tell them that, well, I wanted you guys to make up your mind. And when they say, you know what, these kids are cute, yeah, let's do it. All right, I already have everything set in place. Like, what if they had said no? He would have just kidnapped more dinosaurs, or he would have just been like, well, you know, you have to go anyway. Because it turns out when they get there, or they go back in time, he already made preparations for specifically these 4 dinosaurs. Now, granted, he could have chosen another T-Rex, another Triceratops and whatnot, but I don't see Mr. Neweyes as such a great person, because, like, these creatures had families. You wanting to experiment with your little freaking machine because you're bored gives you the right to go to dinosaurs' land and kidnap them from their families. Woog was probably a father or someone's son. Dweeb was probably a very esteemed member of the herd, and his family was brokenhearted. But he made these dinosaurs believe that they were so stupid, only he could give them intelligence, when in fact these dinosaurs had bonds. He tells them about the librarian, how she's waiting for you guys, and she's really nice. Then he tells them about his brother and how wicked he is, and how he's always trying to do mischief and to stay away from him. Thanks, buddy. We haven't heard your brother's side. Doesn't seem like you're much better, though. I used to think he was really nice, and when you watch this back, you realize, Jesus, not really nice at all. I think one of the reasons I also liked Rex is because he was so innocent. He was a T-Rex, which means he was strong, had the ability to kill, but did not. He seemed also socially awkward, which is something I related to a lot. So anthropomorphizing the character into feeling that way and being naive about things was something I really related to, especially since for a lot of my life, that's how I was, especially when I was growing up, and I was taken advantage of because of it. This also happens to Rex. The alien, Mr. Neweyes, throws them out of his ship without telling them or preparing them for what's gonna happen. They didn't know they had parachutes on them. They just gave the pterodactyl the boat, and they end up falling right on Max's boat. He has a machine, so he's a little bit of an inventor himself, and it's like, why would you do all of that? You're street smart, but you can't make friends? Unless, of course, somebody else made this invention. So they're so enamored with what this is, and Max, of course, he gets up and he's sputtering, and they're like, what is this? And he's like, it's New York, you morons, while he's mid-drowning. That's a way to go. Tossing someone out while you're fighting for your breath and you can't even swim while you're on a freaking raft that could sink at any moment. At first he doesn't believe they're dinosaurs. He's like, oh, you're dinosaurs? You are pretty big. All right, let's go. He wants to make it to the circus because he's running away to go to the circus and whatnot. Then while Rex is looking up at the Twin Towers, he loses his balance. He says he can't swim. He knows what swimming is, doesn't know what lunch is. So Louie, sorry I called him Max. I really thought his name was Max. It's been a while. He goes into this crane, what are these things called? What in the world? Okay, well, he goes to the picker-upper thingy. The thing that breaks things and chops them and picks up dirt and whatnot. Like, upside-down shovel tractor thing. I know you guys are gonna correct me in the comments. There's like a million joysticks in there. Is this what they really look like? Because I've looked inside one and I don't remember it looking like this. Louie has no idea which one to do. But he's like, let me turn the key and now I magically know which one to pull. Just so happens he chose the right one and not the one that would help him, not the one that would cause him to go forward and end up in the water. He starts to end up in the water, but the other dinosaurs pull the vehicle back. They almost get crushed by it, but he manages to save Rex, who was almost drowned. Rex sees the bubbles and he remembers Louie From the bubble. Oh, you were that kid that wanted that wish. The wish where he wanted a friend.
I wish I had a friend.
The librarian just misses them. Rex says he owes Louie one, but Louie says don't worry about it. Louie insults Elsa by calling her a bat, so she gets him back by giving him an awesome fly scene, which honestly is really cool. It's one of the things that I loved most about this, because you feel like you're on the pterodactyl. They see a parade. Louie's like, hey, we can join the parade because New York's not ready for you guys.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hit the brakes!
Why are we hearing brake sounds in the middle of the air? Like Aladdin, he stops in front of Cecilia Nuthatch's apartment. She's crying because her parents are always busy and they leave her alone. I really feel bad for her because, like, why'd you have a child if you don't want to spend time with them? They're off on vacation, Thanksgiving, while she's all alone by herself in this apartment. They don't have any family members. They don't have a pet that she can have. Look at them. She's just staring at them like having fun. Hey, we wish you were here. We chose not to take you. Sure. What asshole parent? You can tell that this movie is freaking old because I love the darkness in it, because when she's crying...
What about your parents? Do they beat you? Oh.
No.
It's like, the way he asks her, do they beat you? Like it's nothing. This kid really grew up in New York. So he obviously has a crush on Cecilia, and he's like, look, I'm running away to the circus. You want to come? Leave all this crap behind? The girl is clearly loaded, and they make a show of that. And there's like a family night thing where she's alone and her family's never around. It's so embarrassing. Why did they even hang that picture? For them to hang that picture just screams tone deaf. I don't even understand. You know what? The funny twist about all of this would be if Cecilia was dead the whole time and she didn't know. Anyway, she throws away her hat, and this little girl that was in the bubble radio wishing for a hat ends up with the hat on her head. Her wish came true. They're introduced to Cecilia.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Woog.
I remember how, like, freaking annoying her voice was. I forgot about it. I mean, I have an annoying voice too, but still, Jesus.
Cecilia Nuthatch, very pleased to meet you, Woog.
Like, just, ugh. They did not pull any punches with this, because I remember, like, the same look that Allie gave Littlefoot and that Nala gave Simba is the same look that Cecilia gives Louie.
What?
Can we observe that he almost impaled himself on this Triceratops? He jumped off and his jacket got caught on it, but he could have easily have ended up on this thing's horns. Look at his Chucky the doll face.
Horn almost went in my ass.
And it's giving me very Uptown Girl. But look at the look she gives him.
What are you, some kind of a debut, huh?
Why, yes. As a matter of fact, I am.
Oh.
So inappropriate. Mind you, this being previously did not know what lunch was, but he knows exactly what this means. Then comes the most obnoxious part of the movie. It's when they're going through this parade and Rex and his friends are pretending, you know, to be part of the parade. So people don't know that they're real dinosaurs, and all of these kids are like, I wish they were real dinosaurs. It's so annoying because, like, no kids do that. What kids usually do is they pretend that the dinosaurs are real. Nobody sits there and is like, I wish those balloons floating in front of me are real dinosaurs. Like, what the hell? And they sound so annoying. Mind you, I was very asocial also and heavily introverted when I was younger as well. So maybe to me, just these little social interactions or people expressing themselves this way felt very unrealistic even at that time. But it just feels as though they heavy-handed that into the writing. I still love this movie though.
I wish I could see real dinosaurs.
I wish I could see a real dinosaur.
I wish they were real.
Dinosaurs, look, dinosaurs! Yeah, wouldn't it be great if they were real?
Holy shit, man. Like, come on, stop. Ew, no. Like, the other little girl sees this big-ass dinosaur that looks real, and she's sad because she wishes it was real. Oh my god, ew. Ugh. And then, you know he's gonna break into freaking song.
Lord, roll back the rock to the dawn of time. You can blow your cool just like a volcano. Snap your fingers and stomp your feet.
Okay, that was my jam, though. I'm not gonna lie. I loved it. Sorry for the echo, but I loved it. I love this stupid song. Is it a freaking vibrator in the middle of the parade? What is that? Okay, whatever.
And sing this song with me.
So while Rex is is having fun. Okay, for me, like childhood me, I was like, oh my god, he's singing. So stupid. I hated myself. Rex got more confident as time went by, and I definitely see him as the ESFP type, the person who likes to be the center of attention. He's really good with people. He's really fun to be around, and I like that about him. He went from being shy to just confident and having fun, and really trying to make people happy and entertain them. And he's a freaking T-Rex persona. And then we get this freaking girl. I don't know how old these kids are supposed to be, but they're clearly kids. They're probably like 10 to 12 years old. Maybe? I don't even know. But Cecilia's a freaking slut.
What do you think of my friends, huh?
I think they're swank. First rank. Top hat right down to their tails.
Say what?
And I like you, too.
Hey!
Jesus Christ, bro. Keep it in your skirt. Anyway, so Rex gets all excited because he sees an Apatosaurus. It's a balloon and he sees people dragging it. He understands concepts. He knows what things are, sort of. He's like, oh, it's someone just like me.
Hey, there's another fella just like me. Good to see somebody of a similar persuasion, if you know what I mean. Put her there.
So he's dancing and singing and nobody's wondering, man, how is this robot puppet doing all of this? Funny how they also have the Jurassic Park title and it says Steven Spielberg, which is pretty on the nose. So here's the part that's really stupid. The balloon deflates in front of them. JVC, what is that? It's like everywhere. Look at it. Here, it's over there. Hi-Fi? Was that what the internet was back then? Interesting. Whatever. Anyway, so this is the stupidest part. All these people are jamming out. The parents are jamming out. They're like, oh, everyone's having fun. And then this little girl comes up, and it's so stupid because they're all just standing there. The girl pulls her mother. Everyone's just watching. And then she says this, and this is when chaos ensues. And it's like, why? What was the reason?
Hi.
Look, Mommy. Those are real dinosaurs. They're real! They're real! They're not robots. They're alive!
Gosh, real dinosaurs!
So nobody told the kids, hey, no, they're not. They just take the kids' words for it. Maybe they were thinking that too or something. But the kid says it. I mean, the kid will say, hey, Mom, there's a monster under my bed. It's not a monster. It's not a monster. And they won't even check. They won't even check. They'll just write it off and say monsters aren't real. But the kid says, hey, Mom, they're real dinosaurs. Knowing that kids have a big imagination. And then they're like, oh my God, Susie, oh, you're right. Even though I know that dinosaurs don't exist anymore. And they don't look like that. And they don't talk. But they're real. Like, the stupidity is one of the funniest things about the movie. Now anyway, the people are all scampering and Louis can't get back to the dinosaurs. He's being pulled away by the stampede of people. I don't know how he's not crushed under these panicking people, but he screams out to the dinosaurs that will meet up in Central Park. So Rex is like, where's Central Park? And everyone screams. Why were they just standing there the whole time? Like, if everyone's running and you know they're real dinosaurs, why were you standing so close to them the whole time? Anyways, bad news. When they do see the poster, he says, look, now appearing in Central Park, but that's Dr. Screw-Eyes. That's that bad guy. So the police surrounds the dinosaurs and they all run for it. Elsa almost gets decapitated by the propellers of a helicopter. Rex starts skateboarding with a car that has the strongest freaking axles I have ever seen. Must be one of those old Chevy pickups. And the story comes to a head when Rex and his friends are forced inside a demolition building, trying to escape the police. It'd be so hilarious if it was over like that. But they end up right where Professor Screw-Eyes is. Cecilia and Louie are trying to find the dinosaurs, and the park is really, really creepy. Cecilia's like losing her shit, and freaking Louie has no chill.
You know, Louie,
Yeah?
I really hate to say this.
Then don't.
While they're going through the park, they meet these gothic guys. They're like, what are you looking at? But Louie's all tough. He's like, I'll feed you a knuckle sandwich. Cecilia's like, you shouldn't have done that, dude. And he's like, you can't take a step back from those guys. Classic New Yorker. It's true. Trust me, the nicer you are or the more scared you are is the more people want to beat you up. De-escalation does not work. Cecilia thinks Louie's brave. They go inside the eccentric circus. They see a clown named Stubbs performing for this dude who we know is Professor Screw-Eyes. Stubbs is doing his darnest, and Screw-Eyes is just looking at him like he wants to shove his freaking boot all the way inside of his freaking chest. So Screw-Eyes gets very upset. He hears laughter at Stubbs' performance. Look how adorable adorable Stubbs is when he hears Cecilia laughing. He probably wanted nothing more than to make someone happy and to laugh at his performance. And Screweyes gets mad, and I'm like, why are you getting upset? Isn't that what you want? So Louis takes the blame, and Cecilia's like, no, I laugh. He's like, dude, we're close. So they're asking, hey, was it those freaky people, your audience that we passed up? And he's like, yeah, maybe. I appeal to a particular type of people. So we know he's probably not in the business of making people laugh. He's very dark. So they said, hey, we ran away to the circus, and they're trying to join the circus. Unfortunately, they're unaware that this is the kind of circus they probably do not want to join. The eccentric circus. The very place that Neweyes told the dinosaurs to stay away from. He keeps trying to tell Louis, you ran away to the wrong circus, bro. Get away. Leave. Leave. And Cecilia's even trying to tell Louis, I don't feel so good about this. We should go back. But Louis is an idiot. After Louis bothers him for a while, the guy's like, you know what? All right, here's a contract. And Cecilia says, it's blank. Probably like your ball sack.
I try to keep things simple. One at a time.
So this guy is already giving Louis some creeps. He knows that he probably shouldn't be doing this, but he's gonna anyway because he's an idiot. Ow! Respect for this movie for showing blood. Love Steven Spielberg's stuff, or Don Bluth, whatever. Whoever it was that made like The Land Before Time or the first movies, and those old movies that have that grainy feel to them. Fievel, what was it called again? The thing with the mouse and The Land Before Time, which was Don Bluth. So I always thought that was Steven Spielberg for some reason. And this, they all have the same feel about them. And they're not afraid to show blood. Respect to that. I watched this and I was totally fine. You know what? The crazy thing is, kids will soon discover that oh my god, they have blood in their bodies.
Proceed to the contract.
Louis, I'm scared.
You are. Good.
Freaking creepy. Because Louis does it, she does it too. So the dinosaurs finally show up, and Dweeb says, Cecilia, get away from that dude. He wants to touch you. I'm sorry. But he does, though. And the dumbass Louis is like, guys, please. We joined a circus. Guys, screw fur and I, everything's fine. So Rex is like, yeah, we were warned about you, dude. You screw-eyes, screw-ass. Professor Screw-eyes asked who warned them, and they reply that his brother did.
Your brother.
Well, that's how you got here and why you can talk. He's fed you that brain grain stuff, and he warned you about me, hey?
Dude does have a point, though. Like I said, his brother stole them from their families and forced them into his experiment and tricked them and kidnapped them and then made them freaking doofbags for his entertainment and for his purpose. He's not any better than his brother, except they just have a different taste.
Did he show you that wish radio, schnigababob?
Yep, we're what people were wishing for. So Professor Screw-Eyes is like... We have a contract. You can't just take these kids. They signed with their own blood, but they're minors? So I don't even think that contract is legally binding. But here we are, because grown-ups don't have any brain cells in this movie. Why does her animation look like she's not crying? I mean, now it does, but before it's... okay, you're a debutante. Your parents obviously educated you, but she's new to all of this. She's still a kid, so I get it. You know what? Whatever. She's naive. We'll just leave it at that. Her parents haven't even been around to warn her of certain things or to get mixed up. If she ever gets out of this, she will never date a guy like Louis. Or maybe she will for a while, then she'll be like, you know what? You're a liability. Louis tries to calm Cecilia down, but she knows her life is in danger. And honestly, this part was freaking insane because right after Louis tries to calm her down, oh my god, you realize that something worse is going to happen. And I remember when I watched this movie for the first time, I never saw this coming.
Hey, come on, it's gonna be all right.
Oh, I don't think so.
That's something you don't want to hear after you've just signed on your last. That's seriously what the scene reminded me of. I'm like, oh my god, I don't think so. You see, that contract that you actually signed was a contract to bind your soul to my nuts. Okay, I'm being just really lewd right now, but he's not far from it because now these kids aren't going anywhere. They're in a vice tighter than they can imagine. Sounds weird, but it's true. He shows them his little radio, and his is much bigger, and it picks up what people are scared of. That's what his circus is all about. That's why a lot of his his audience are gothic people who like death, darkness. So he has 3 levels: nervous, paranoid, and screaming Mimi. Whatever the frick that means. So as Regu comes out with all these children screaming, saying monsters are gonna eat them, he says they're most afraid of monsters. Rex and his friends are confused and like monsters. And Professor Screw Eyes, or whatever his name is, says, yeah, that's what you are, bro. Or at least you will be with my brain drain. Says it's the remedy to his brother's goody two-shoes breakfast cereal. It essentially will turn Rex and his friends back to the way they were. Rex and his friends says they don't want to be monsters, which is kind of messed up because it's kind of insinuating that the way they were before as natural dinosaurs wasn't good enough. They were monsters. They weren't worthy of just existing. They were literally just in their own world, in their own timeline, just chilling out. And you came and kidnapped them, force-fed them, and put them into this hellhole. By all definition of the word, Professor Neweyes is the monster. He's the alien that freaking abducts people and brainwashes them to be something that they're not. Celia is hypnotized, and so is Louis. Then they devolve as their brains are drained and they turn back into chimpanzees, I guess. Or how they would be as chimpanzees.
Change them back, or
you'll what?
He says he ain't gonna do nothing, bitch. That brain drain made you soft, took away your dino dick. Claims they're too civilized to be savages now, when he is a literal savage. You know, I found the most people who are the freaking savagest people of all are the people who claim they're civilized. Very ironic. But Screw Eye says, you know what? There actually is something you can do. If you eat the brain drain, I'll set the kids free. They won't be chimps anymore.
I'll take it.
And I'll take it, you loathsome creature.
I'll do it.
This is so sad. They're willing to give up their enlightenment and who they are or who they've become to save their new friends that they just met. Rex says, you guys will be alright. I'm gonna go and be back to my regular self now. When Louis and Cecilia wake up, they're back to normal, thinking it was all a bad dream. Pops comes to see them, and he's actually touched because he made them laugh. You can never make the professor laugh, which is what he aimed for.
So you thought that was funny? That was okay?
Stubbs is so cute, and he's one of my favorite characters of this movie because he's so innocent, and all he wants to do is make the professor laugh. And despite the professor not laughing, he still tries his darndest. Just be silly. It's slapstick, but still. Louis even says, you're funny, dude. He's like, don't you get it? That dude's nuts. That's why he doesn't laugh. His spleen's broken or something. Stubbs warns them as his new friends to get out of this place. They said they can't leave without their friends, and he's like, you gotta forget about them. And Louis like, no, show me them. Like, all right, I warned you, you ain't gonna like it. Louis is shown the cage that Rex and his friends are in. They reverted back to regular dinosaurs, which is like not that bad. Like, why would you want to? Anyway. Stubbs says that he'll get them in because you guys laughed. What if he hadn't laughed? He wouldn't have helped them? Kids. And I'm like, okay, this is cute, and Stubbs is a great character, but like looking back at this, it's like, okay, you douchebag. Only because I laughed at your jokes, you're willing to help me. If I didn't laugh at your jokes, you wouldn't have helped me because I'm just a child and I'm innocent. Professor Screw Eyes was too comfortable letting those kids sign that contract, so I'm thinking it's not the first time he's done something like this, and Stubbs has been working with him forever. How many other kids or people who were innocent did Stubbs let just slide by and turn into animals, and he only decided to save these people because they happen to laugh at his jokes and make him feel better? Louis and Cecilia dress up as these costume things to scare people because that's what they're there for. That's how they blend in. For his final attraction, he shows the dinosaurs as they are, and honestly, they look amazing. I love the way they look naturally as dinosaurs, even though Rex is drawn like a freaking Godzillasaurus. Professor Screw Eyes can also control them through his screw eye thing. Professor Screw Eyes is like, take a look at this, dinosaurs, eh? I mean, this guy runs a circus where he can show people the freaking spirit realm, and dinosaurs in physical form is what they're afraid of.
Yeah, boy.
Professor says, take 2 steps for the audience, and people are climbing and losing their freaking shit. I guess they figure like the things that he shows them, like it scares them, but it can't eat them. But I didn't see them climbing over the pews for something like this. He also asked for the shackles to be taken off of the dinosaur. Anyway, why he's like, yeah, the creature does what I say because I'm powerful. A crow flies in and hits the button for the flares for no freaking reason. And Rex was like, oh my god, oh, baby, shit. Yeah, you make me mad. Part is so stupid because why are the other dinosaurs dinosaurs there? Are they freaking backup dancers? They're not even like threatening. What was he planning to do with the others? Why did he lead with the T-Rex and have them on? It doesn't make any sense. I thought this guy was doing this for a long time. And then Rex turns back into an animal and the professor is scared and doesn't run and is begging for his life like a freaking idiot. And we think the T-Rex is gonna eat him. Like, he literally leads with his jaws to bite this guy, but he doesn't. Instead, he's like, I'm gonna grab you with my freaking small arm, which T-Rexes are not supposed to do, because when they're small, even though he has 3 freaking fingers, grabbing with small arms is usually not something, you know, they usually lead with the mouth, especially if the thing's not armed. It's just weird. Like when he was an animal chasing the other animal into the woods in the intro of the movie, he was leading with his jaws, so picking him up with the arm was just really freaking weird.
No!
No, he's not gonna kill the professor. Relax your tits, stuff your gut inside. If he was going to kill the professor, he would have already. He wouldn't sit there with his mouth wide open, doing nothing. Did the freaking sharp teeth from the Land Before Time franchise translate over into this movie where they see the freaking dinosaur standing there and they just are like, I really wanted to kill you a moment ago, but now that I have you cornered, you have nowhere to run. I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to realize that you're cornered, for your brain to catch up and for you to run away before I snap my jaws down on you. It's a wonder how these creatures even survive.
Don't do it. I'm telling you. I know you can't understand me, but you gotta.
What a compelling argument. So he says, don't ruin everything because you're mad and scared, you know, which is exactly what he did. But he's literally not. He's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is who he was before freaking Neweyes kidnapped him from his home. He was the way he was. Now you're saying he's gonna ruin something because he's a dinosaur and he's doing what naturally comes to him? Louis says, I know I act like I'm the original tough guy, but that's because I'm afraid too. Don't think Rex is afraid. I think he just wants to eat. Why? When I watched this for the first time, I never understood for the life of me, when a T-Rex is holding you in its freaking paw, why would you reach over like an idiot and put your finger on its tooth to see how sharp it is so that you could draw blood and now it can smell you better? I just did not get the concept of that. I guess that was for the audience or something, but I remember watching this as a kid and I did whatever the equivalent of a facepalm was at the time because it just made no sense to me.
Let no bad happen.
So because Cecilia is wishing, let no bad happen, let no bad happen, even though you have the opportunity to do that when you were scared in the park before this dude made you sign the contract, you were wishing that this dude doesn't die in front of you, who changed you into a chimp and hurt your friends, and that is the wish that you were experiencing the strongest, but not to get you and Louis out of the situation that you were in. I know they're kids, it's just stupid.
You got nothing to prove. You're a giant. Don't be a midget bully boy for these yahoos.
A what? Did he just... Looking back at this movie, I really don't see how this is a good pep talk. He's got nothing to prove. He's not proving anything. He's a freaking dinosaur. I get that Louis doesn't get that, and he's trying to appeal to his better nature, but it would have been hilarious if they did a remake of this and he got eaten. So he's petting Rex and telling him to put the guy down. And suddenly, the brain grain or whatever is not needed for him to be intelligent again. Rex puts the guy down, and he magically changes back into his cartoonish self. And everybody is clapping. Did they go back into the seat? They figure, oh, that big pep talk was needed for Rex and he turned back into a goofy, ugly dinosaur, freaking Sonic eyes with his eyes so close together. They're mating with each other. So all that's needed is to hug the other dinosaurs to death until they cartoonify. Hugs is all that's needed to cartoonify. Oh, wow. Then Professor Screw-Eyes' brother comes and he's like, Mufasa, I'm sorry, brother, you were horrible. He's like, I heard your wish. What, you didn't hear it before they turned to chimpanzees? I'm pretty sure they were wishing very hard that they didn't want anything bad to happen to them, but you let them turn into monkeys.
Good. Let no bad happen. Couldn't agree more.
Oh my god, what an asshole. Oh my god, this is so stupid. The writing is so dumb. I get what it was for. I get the point, like what it was for the kids, but Jesus Christ, the cringe. Now looking back at it. Rex is worried that he did something bad, and Louie's like, nah, you didn't do anything bad, dude. Cecilia is like, ooh. After Louie encourages Rex, throws herself at Louie. She's like, ooh, have my children, even though we're not, like, whatever age. What age are they supposed to be? We don't even know.
Yes. If anybody's kissing anybody, You should be kissing me.
What a freaking thought. Like, the entire movie, Cecilia's existence is just to throw herself at this guy who's like, yeah, you're cute, but I don't want you touching me like that. And then at the end, she's like, you're right, I shouldn't just be kissing like that. You should kiss me. There's nothing more romantic than seeing children slobber all over each other at the end of a movie for no freaking reason. And I swear to God, at the end, Elsa's like, I want to talk to you, Rex, because, like, the way you look at me, it makes me want to, like, lay an egg. I swear to God, that's what she says. What is it with the women in these movies? Like, Rex just came into consciousness, and this woman was jumping his freaking dino bone. It's ridiculous. Like, what is supposed to happen? Okay, whatever. Godzilla and Mothra right there. So Neweyes is like, get on board, guys, I got a surprise. Stubbs resigns from his position as the clown for Professor Screw-Eyes. So then Stubbs is like, that's comedy, that's why people are laughing. And then the dinosaurs go up on the spaceship with the person who got them into the situation, and then the other guy's like, oh my God, my brother, don't leave me, because even though they've been at odds with each other all this time, all of a sudden now he's afraid of the dark. He said when there's no one to scare, he gets frightened. And the movie just gets freaking weird because all the crows go on to him and, like, evaporate him or something because he's afraid. Anyway, they go meet up with the librarian, the dinosaurs. Oh, and by the way, Captain Neweyes did invite his brother to come with him. He didn't say that, hey, if you change your ways and come with me, you know, I'll let you on the ship, and that the brother said no. So he got sniffed away by a pack of crows, or a murder of crows. And then she says that the librarian says, hey, tomorrow you're gonna fulfill the dreams of many children, and it wasn't okay when you did it in the parade, but it certainly is okay now.
Hi, I'm Max.
That's who Max was. So they play with all the kids, and the parents are completely okay with this. And Neweyes is like, that's the way it is. I got these dinosaurs, kidnapped them from their homes, force-fed them a whole bunch of my freaking product, and made them into idiots so that they could play with a bunch of children for my amusement and for the children's happiness. What kind of alien invasion story is this? Can you imagine if aliens came to our planet and they're like, you know what? There's a bunch of our alien children from our planet that have always wanted to see a human in real life. Let's kidnap a bunch of humans. Like, you know, we'll kidnap an ethnic human, we'll kidnap a hot dog human, or a whatever type of human there is, or however aliens refer to us as, and let's bring them to my planet. I'm like, oh, I'm here for you guys to fulfill your purpose. And then they're like, okay, now you will make the kids happy. Play with our children. And then when you're done, he just leaves you the way you are. You're never aware of your family, your children ever again. Just really literally wipes your brain and makes you quote unquote civilized. Sounds very suspicious. So anyway, we come back to the present where Rex is telling Buster the bird about the story, and he says, yeah, Louie and his girlfriend are a couple now. They're doing things together. Parents came back. Louie made up with his parents. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Cecilia was wishing for her parents for a long time. Was her wish not loud enough? Really? Was dinosaurs really the thing that was on the list at the highest? I guess the guy figured it's the only thing he could control, but, you know, I don't know, dude. Just have a feeling that he could have done a little bit more. So Buster's like, my mom's calling me because, you know, she ain't got nothing better to do. Even though Buster's brothers are teasing him, he's like, fuck off! And his mother's completely okay with him doing that because his brothers had been picking on him. And Rex sings into the sunset and is allowed to live in what looks like a very strange version of New York, I guess. I mean, sure, him and his dinosaur friends are just allowed to live there unencumbered and play golf at the top of buildings, because sure, why not? And that's the end of the movie. Sometimes when a few years go by and you go back and you look over some of these movies, you realize, wow, that was a classic and I love this movie. And sometimes you look back in a movie and you're like, man, I love this movie, but no, looking back and it's dumb as shit. But I did admire this movie for the darkness that it had. Really the only reason why I was even interested in this movie was because it had dinosaurs in it. That was the main reason. My mom had introduced me to Land Before Time, and then my best friend's mother introduced us to this, so it's like, ooh, more things with dinosaurs. I just wanted to see dinosaurs. I didn't really like the design of the dinosaurs, but Rex's personality, I did fall in love with his personality, even though he was a freaking dumbass. But the fact that he was willing to stand up for his friends, he was strong, he was caring, he could freaking skateboard on a car, I had the hugest crush. I can happily say, I do not anymore. I do not. I don't know what I was thinking Well, I do, and that's completely past. Anyway, that was We're Back, a dinosaur story. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.